They burned it. They replaced it. They wrote in their journals, too wild to control. But the desert keeps its secrets. For 5,000 years, this bean survived empires, survived colonizers, survived industrial agriculture, and today, it's still here, waiting. This is the story of a seed that refused to die, and why it might be the most important food you've never heard of. Stay with me, because what they tried to erase might save your family. To understand why they wanted this bean gone, we need to go back, way back, to a time when the Milky Way told a different story. When the Tohono O'odham looked up at the night sky, they didn't see stars. They saw seeds. Their ancestors believed the Milky Way was formed from scattered Tepary beans, flung across the heavens as a reminder. What feeds us also connects us to eternity. 5,000 years ago, in the Sonoran Desert, one of the harshest environments on Earth, the Tohono O'odham people discovered something remarkable. A wild bean that could survive 60 days without water. That could thrive in 115-degree heat. That could feed a family through the longest drought. They didn't just find a food source. They found a partner for survival. The Tepary became sacred. It was woven into ceremonies, sung about in harvest songs, passed down through 200 generations, not just as food, but as a living connection to those who came before. Imagine holding a seed in your palm and knowing that same seed was held by your great-great-grandmother and her grandmother before her for 5,000 years, unbroken. That's what Tepary meant to these people, and it's what they were about to lose. But first, let's talk about what this tiny bean could actually do. Here's what the Tohono O'odham knew that we're just rediscovering. Tepary bean has 25 grams of protein per 100 grams. That's more protein than beef. It needs 75% less water than common beans. It can survive temperatures that would kill most crops. And it has one of the lowest glycemic indexes of any legume, making it ideal for preventing diabetes. For 50 generations, this single bean fed entire civilizations in the harshest desert on Earth. While other cultures struggled with water, the Tohono O'odham thrived. Their secret? They worked with the desert, not against it, and Tepary was the key. At its peak, Tepary was the primary food source for thousands of people across the American Southwest. White Tepary, brown Tepary, speckled Tepary, dozens of varieties, each adapted to specific conditions. A living library of survival wisdom encoded in DNA. And then, everything changed. The first blow came from across the ocean. When Spanish missionaries arrived in the 1600s, they brought more than religion. They brought a worldview that saw indigenous food as inferior. Savage food, they called it. They burned the Tepary fields. They forced the Tohono O'odham to grow wheat instead. Wheat, a crop that needed 5 times more water, in a desert that had almost none. Think about that for a moment. Imagine someone coming to your home and declaring your grandmother's food illegal, erasing 5,000 years of wisdom because it didn't fit their idea of civilized. But here's what the colonizers didn't understand. You can burn a field, you can outlaw a food, but you cannot burn what is hidden in the hearts of grandmothers, in secret gardens, in clay jars buried in the earth, in seeds sewn into the hems of dresses. The Tepary survived. The first suppression failed. But a century later, a new enemy emerged. The 20th century brought industrial agriculture. And industrial agriculture had no room for Tepary. It didn't grow in neat rows. It didn't ripen all at once. It didn't fit the machines. Too wild to control, they said again. So they replaced it with pinto beans, black beans, crops that behaved. By 1980, less than 1% of original Tepary cultivation remained. A 5,000-year partnership between humans and plant nearly erased in 2 generations. Diabetes rates among the Tohono O'odham, once almost unknown, skyrocketed to the highest in the world. The bean that had protected them for millennia was gone. Almost. Because some families never stopped believing. In hidden corners of the reservation, in backyard gardens that nobody noticed, a handful of families kept planting. Grandmothers who remembered, mothers who believed, daughters who refused to let go. They saved seeds in coffee cans, in old medicine bottles, in their memories. Not because they thought the world would come back for Tepary, but because some things are too important to let die. Let me ask you something. Has your family ever saved seeds? Ever kept a tradition alive that the world had forgotten? Let me know in the comments, because I think more of us have this story than we realize. Every seed these families saved was an act of resistance. Every planting was a prayer. Every harvest was proof. The bean refused to die. And then, something remarkable happened. Science caught up. 5,000 years ago, Tohono mothers knew what NASA just discovered. Tepary bean is one of the most climate-resilient foods on Earth. Researchers at the University of Arizona found that Tepary can withstand temperatures up to 46 degrees Celsius, while common beans fail at 32. It survives 60 days of drought. Common beans die in 2 weeks. In a world racing toward climate chaos, Tepary was designed for exactly this moment. NASA is now studying Tepary for long-term space missions, a bean that can grow with minimal water in extreme conditions with maximum nutrition. The food that sustained desert civilizations might sustain humans on Mars. Here's the irony. What they called too wild to control is exactly what we need for 2050. The bean that didn't fit the machine might be the one that saves us from the machine's consequences. And the grandmothers who kept it alive, they weren't just saving food, they were saving the future. Today, the future is coming home. Today, the Tohono O'odham are bringing Tepary home, not as museum pieces, not as curiosities, as living food. Community gardens are replanting ancestral varieties. Schools are teaching children how to grow what their great-grandparents knew. Diabetes programs are using Tepary as medicine. The erased hero is rising. And this time, it's not just the Tohono O'odham who are paying attention. People across America, across the world, are discovering what was nearly lost, including you. Which brings us to the most important part of this story, what you can do right now. Here's the truth. You don't need to be Tohono O'odham to grow Tepary. You don't need to live in the desert. You don't need special equipment. You just need some seeds and the will to try. Here's exactly how to grow Tepary in your backyard. Step 1. When? Plant after your last frost, when soil is at least 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Late spring to early summer is perfect. Step 2. Where? Full sun, at least 8 hours. Well-drained soil is critical. Tepary hates wet feet. And here's the secret. No fertilizer needed. They fix their own nitrogen. Step 3. How? Plant 1 inch deep, 4 to 6 inches apart. Rows 18 to 24 inches apart. Water once at planting, then step back. Step 4. The secret. Less water equals better beans. Water every 2 to 3 weeks maximum. When pods start forming, stop watering completely. Step 5. Harvest. 90 to 120 days. Wait until pods are completely dry and brittle. Store in a cool, dark place. Properly stored, they'll last 10 years or more. Where? To get seeds. Native seeds/search. The original source. Authentic varieties. Baker Creek heirloom seeds. Multiple colors. San Xavier Co-op Farm. Directly from Tohono O'odham growers. Seed Savers Exchange. Community-saved varieties. The bean that survived 5,000 years is waiting for you. You can do this week, in your backyard. And now, one final thought. The archive closes. But this knowledge doesn't have to sleep again. Every seed you plant is a vote against forgetting. Every harvest is a conversation with ancestors you never met. Every meal is a middle finger to everyone who said it couldn't be done. The bean that refused to die, it is waiting for you to bring it back. If this story moved you, subscribe and share it. Let me know in the comments. What will you plant? The archive closes. Your memory begins.